I would like to introduce Claire Running and Barako Mohammed, who are here from Catholic Charities today to share some videos that they have been instrumental in creating in their work over the last couple of years. So with that, Claire and Barako.
Thanks, Anna. It's really great to be here. Again, I'm Claire Roining. I'm the Refugee Integration Specialist at Catholic Charities. I've been working at Catholic Charities for 6 years, but have been working in refugee resettlement for the last, a little bit over 10 years now. I'll let my coworker Barwako introduce herself quickly.
Hi, everyone. My name is Barwako Mohammed. I am the community educator here at Catholic Charities. I have been doing videos for about over a year now.
We're very happy to have Barwako on staff. So here's our plan for today. We're going to tell you a little bit more about our agency, and then we're going to dive deep into our refugee and immigrant video resource library. After that, Anna is going to talk a little bit about the Sesame workshop displacement and resettlement videos. And then we're going to have a breakout session to get to actually look at one of our videos in small groups, and then talk about how you would integrate it into your lesson plans. And then we'll report back and take your questions. I know the chat is being monitored, so if you do have questions while we're speaking, please enter them in the chat so it can be more of a conversation instead of the two of us just talking at you guys. Our objectives today, we hope that by the end of the session, you know how to access our video library and you've got 2 best practices for using those videos, and that ultimately you're able to incorporate them into your work, or you're able to share them with coworkers and other folks that you work with. So I'm going to talk a little bit now about our agency. So Catholic Charities is a nonprofit social service agency that started in 1920. So we've been working for over 100 years, and immigrants and refugees have been at the heart of our mission since our beginnings 100 years ago. The communities have changed. 100 years ago, it was Irish and German immigrants coming to the Milwaukee area, but now we're working with refugee and immigrant communities from all over the world. We are inspired by Christ's call to serve, but we're working with people from all different faith backgrounds. Our staff is very diverse. In our program, specifically our refugee integration program, about 80% of our clients are actually Muslim. So we're certainly working with people from all faith walks of life and those who don't have a faith practice. Our vision really is to support people as they need to make changes or they need some special support. They identify the tools, and our agency is there to make sure they have those resources and they're able to make positive changes in their lives. We have a variety of programs and we stretch across the Archdiocese of Milwaukee. So we're, our biggest outlet or service area is in the city of Milwaukee. However, we stretch down to Racine, Kenosha, we're out into Walworth County, Dodge County, and we're up into Fond du Lac and Sheboygan. Our adult day center is in Milwaukee for adults who need support during the day. They can stay there. In-home support works with adults who have older folks who need a little bit more support so they can stay safe in their homes. So meal prep, light housework, those things. Our hoarding program is very unique. It's the only one in the country. So if you've seen Hoarders, the show, there's stuff everywhere. People come and clean it out, and then it will come back because there's usually underlying comorbidities for why people are hoarding. And so this program has in-home therapy. It has a home coach who helps get rid of things, and then a case manager to take care of all the other stuff. Our outreach case management, their tagline is, we'll always give you a call back. And that is at every office we have throughout the Archdiocese. And at most of them, we have bilingual Spanish-speaking case managers. And in some parts of the Archdiocese, we're the only social service who does have Spanish-speaking staff. Our community counseling is also at all of our locations, and in as many as possible, again, we've got bilingual Spanish-speaking staff, and that's a sliding fee scale or no fee at all. All of our programs are either for free or at a very, very reduced cost. I think about 95% of the folks we serve are under the poverty line. Pregnancy support and adoption is our oldest program, so we're working with pregnant moms who need extra help for whatever reason to make sure they have a healthy pregnancy. If adoption is the best plan for them, we facilitate private adoptions. Otherwise, we're working with new moms. And then our supportive parenting works with adults who have intellectual disabilities that maybe would be at risk for their kids to be taken away. And so we're able to provide them in-home parenting, coaching support, so that way everybody's happy and safe and healthy. And then our refugee and immigration services is the program that we're going to share more with you today. So we used to be a refugee resettlement agency. We started resettling refugees in 1978, referred through the UN's Refugee Resettlement Program. However, the number of refugees arriving in Wisconsin across the country dropped pretty significantly in 2018. So our national agency reduced, or they got rid of a lot of their departments, and unfortunately ours was shut down. However, I can say 5 years later, this has been a really incredible opportunity to reimagine what services we can provide in partnership with refugee communities as opposed to dictated by contracts. So we recreated our new department to be Refugee and Immigration Services. We have our own website. You can see the address on your screen. It has credible, real good immigration information in English and Spanish. Immigration law is federal. So the laws here in Wisconsin are the same across the United States. Our legal services are listed on the screen. We really do everything for immigration. We have a team of 4 attorneys. We're the only nonprofit in Milwaukee that has a team of immigration attorneys providing these types of free or very reduced cost services. And then our integration services, we have in-home ESL and citizenship classes. We do case management. We facilitate something called the Refugee Community Advisory Board, so a place for refugee leaders to get together and talk about what their needs are and get support. And then we've got our resource library as well that Barwaco is going to tell you more about. Kind of one of the last things I'm going to share is this is our definition of integration here at Catholic Charities. That was one of the first things we had to do when we came up with this new program. And this is coming from Catholic social teaching, field experience, and then academic research. We believe, and I believe very strongly, that refugee integration is not just about refugees or immigrants making all the changes. Clearly, you can't live your exact same life overseas as you did the same life in the United States as you did overseas. However, it's not the melting pot. You know, your culture doesn't get erased when you get here. I like to think of it more as a chili. There's a blending of flavors that happens, but they're distinct pieces. And our program is really there to support people as they're figuring out what about their culture is going to have to change now that they're in the United States. We also believe it's not just the refugee and immigrants who are going to make the change, but those of us who are part of the receiving community are also open to changes to the way we've done things, whether that's new foods, new languages, new traditions, and that when those two things merge, when those two groups, multiple groups get together, our communities really are more vibrant, cohesive. This video library is a big part of that because it's making sure folks have access to resources, especially parents, so they can be the strongest parents possible here in the United States. So now I'm going to let Barwaco tell you more about our library.
So a little bit history about our projects and the videos that we're going to talk about today. Our agency started when we had fundings from the Wheaton Franciscans, and we were able to create our first video project because we were no longer resettling, and we wanted to be able to provide sources that will be very useful to the people that we've been working with. So we were able to hire our first community educator, and April 2021, when we were coming back from COVID and schools were starting, we were able to create our first video, which was back to school safety. And then afterwards, we were able to create a relationship with Milwaukee Public Schools. Later in 2022, I was able to join the team and create more videos, and in September last year we had over 10,000 subscribers. So why we do these videos is we're able to reach a broader audience without like having our staff to share with our clients. It's easier to tell your clients, hey, I have this video about this specific topic, but you can only share so much as one person. So at the beginning, Claire always says this, like it was her sharing the videos with clients by herself. But now we have that YouTube channel where people can go watch and rewatch anytime they want at the home, like at the privacy of their home. We're able to provide more visual for people who have low literacy or who have no language, their language has no written. So a little bit about our channel. We now have over 500 videos, and we have over 10,700 viewers that actually view our videos. Our top states are these 5 states. Surprisingly, Wisconsin is not the first one. but we have these viewers that are waiting for us. So we are consistently producing new videos, new topics, because we know people wait for us to release. So some of the languages we translate to our videos, we have 12 languages, but we have top languages, meaning we have more communities that are in need of these videos. For example, Rohingya, the biggest population in the United States, it's based in Milwaukee. So these are one of our like priority language that we make sure we have every video produced in these languages. So when it comes to choosing topic, we have partnerships with MPS, so we prioritize the requests since we do quite few back to school ways parents can help their children. We're able to take those requests and turn into videos. We also are aware of community needs. If communities come up to and tell us there's specific things that we're dealing with, we're able to create a video about that. We also have partners. We have partners with community services that tell us, hey, we're seeing our specific clients dealing with this specific thing, so we're able to do that. And now we have a topic request where anybody can go and answer a couple of questions and put any topic they would like to see on our channel, and we're able to get that and be able to produce. We also do seasonal topics such as tax season. So a little bit about production process. When we are creating these videos, we keep in mind, we write in scripts first. So we make sure those scripts are very small, very little, 7 slides maximum. And when it comes to videos, it's about 5 to 7 minutes. Although it depends on the language, but we start with the English. So if it's 5 to 7 in English, it could be 5 or like to 12 minutes in like maybe Rohingya or in Burmese. But we try to make that small so people are able to watch it and not get bored watching for like 20-minute video. Sometimes topics carry like a lot of information within the topic, and we don't want to make it long, so we try to break it down into different topics. We also consider cultural differences in our communities that we serve. When creating these videos, we make it a lot more visual. Like we said, sometimes people don't know how to read their own language, so it's easier for them to view the visuals and like, oh, that's what that's talking about. We record these videos in 12 languages with interpreters, and also we have community volunteers that help us translate. So some of the challenges is when we are recording, it can be hard if someone is not in the office, it's hard for them, sometimes it's hard to have the audio very clear, the quality. Because our videos go on YouTube, we try our best to make it as clear as they can be. Also, concepts can sometimes be hard depending on the language. For example, with Ukrainian, it's very easy to translate, like for word for word what you're translating. But sometimes in Burmese or Rohingya or other language, it's like you have to explain the word itself before you even go to the concept. So ways you can help us, you can share our videos with your clients, with your students. You can have them subscribe to our channel, click the bell so they will be updated whenever we have a new video on. You can suggest topics, the topic request that I was talking about. You can go into that link and then just ask whichever topic you think will be useful, or you can just email me or email Claire, and then we will be able to take a look at that and be able to produce. You can also share our video library with other partners or service providers that you work with.
So that's our portion about our video library. I think Anna's going to talk more now about Sesame Street Workshop, but we'll be back if you've got questions for us.
Yeah, so I just wanted to show you real briefly the Sesame Street Workshop too before we dive into breakout rooms and look more closely at the video library that Claire and Barako just showed you. So I'm actually gonna pull it up here. Let me get to, so we have Sesame Workshop. You can create an account, but you don't need one. So if you go to sesameworkshop.org and go to their family resources, you can find our the resettlement and displacement, and we'll have a link sent to you about in the follow-up email to this as well. So under tough topics, there is a category for displacement and resettlement. When you go here, it's going to take you directly to resources that are in Ukrainian, Pashto, Dari, Arabic, but I don't speak any of those languages. So I always think it's good to look at the English versions just to help you familiarize yourself with what you're sharing. But then you also may want to share both the English and the other languages as well. This first video here that comes up on the page is actually, I think the audience is intended for people who are already living in the community prior to displacement and resettlement. So it's kind of like a video to help your child understand who's coming into the neighborhood and how to be welcoming of new neighbors. So this video isn't necessarily intended for refugee populations coming to our communities, but for those who are already there. So it just talks about being welcoming. And then here's a guide to start. And then down here are some videos. And so we listened to the Hello song as we came in. You can find these on YouTube, or you can also watch them directly here from the website. This takes you down. I'll just play it real quickly. You heard the song earlier.
Hi there! Hiya! Hello! Oh, that's what you say when you meet someone. Yeah, like.
And I don't know if I shared the sound or not, but I just wanted you to see that the videos are here. So there's a variety of different topics. And I recommend going in and just kind of looking through the videos just to see they talk about ways like that you can hug yourself to give yourself comfort. And these videos again are both in English and in those other languages that we shared. And I want to introduce Jen Kobilecki, who is here from Wisconsin PBS. We connected when we were learning about this workshop. Or learning about these Sesame materials here.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. I'm so excited to learn from all of you. PBS Wisconsin is a free resource. All the resources from PBS Kids are always free, and Sesame Workshop does such a fantastic job with their displacement and resettlement collections. So glad to see it highlighted here.
Thank you, Jen, for coming, and we'll be in continued conversation with Jen too, as we explore more ways that Wisconsin Literacy and Wisconsin PBS can partner in welcoming our new neighbors through this. Okay, so next we are going to go into breakout. So Claire, do you want to start sharing again?
Yeah. Okay. So we will be going into breakout rooms now. In the breakout rooms, we will choose one of our videos to watch. The choices are Stress in Life, Your Healthcare Options, or Opening a Bank Account. So after you watch that video in English, then you'll be discussing the types of materials you would need to reinforce the content. When would you use these? We'll brainstorm some different follow-up activities that you could do in your lesson, and then where you would go to get more information on the topic. So what videos did you guys watch in your groups? My group, I think we group 3, we watched Stress in Life. Getting a lot of head nods from folks with cameras on.
Watch the healthcare options.
Healthcare options. Okay.
We watch Stress in Life too.
Okay. And our last group, what would it, because we had 4 groups, I believe. What did you guys watch?
We watched the financial. So we have every group covered.
Good. Good. So what so the 2 options, either each group could kind of report back what they talked about, or we can answer the questions as a large group. Any preference for how we move forward? No?
Large
Okay. Oh, large group? All right. So what materials did you guys talk about needing to reinforce the content in the video? Our group talked about having some pictures of different stressors or potential stressors. Jen, I saw you unmute if you wanted to add.
Yeah, I was gonna say that very same thing, and then as well, just additional resources that would help the person watching the video implement suggestions. So in the stress one, it was suggested to do meditation or yoga. So we talked about either referencing to maybe a community class or a video that could be used on demand in the home to practice those techniques.
And in room 2, we talked about using it as a part of an ELL lesson. So doing vocabulary work, following up with just a lot of the things from the video, but having them apply to an ELL class.
And
How
then
about for like the financial, the healthcare videos?
for the financial literacy, we talked about having, so there were a lot of images in like drawn form in the video. So we talked about bringing in like the real images, like credit or real items like credit cards, checkbooks, but then also taking photos in your community of the different things. So like, what does the ATM, where's the closest ATM to where you meet, and what does that look like? Or, you know, so to try to tie it in with images from within their community.
Yeah, Realia is so great. Have the real deal if you can. So how and when would you use these videos? And these videos are on, very different topics. So when would it make sense for you to introduce them?
If the topics are part of their curriculum, it would be a good idea to use them at that time.
Yeah. I think too, if you're getting, so for some of maybe the more social emotional learning videos that we have, if you're getting some questions or you're just observing like, oh, people are like, there's some stress going on, it might be a time to weave that into your lesson and make a special, kind of maybe a detour to fold that in to what you're working on.
Yeah, in terms of the healthcare video, one of the comments was, this is something that you want to do early on so that people, because it's critical information, that you'd want to cover this early. And I thought that was a really good point.
Yeah, I used to be a culture orientation teacher at a resettlement agency. And I think the best analogy for culture orientation is it's like drinking through a fire hose. There's just so much information. And you don't it's really hard to ask questions about things you haven't done before. And so just making sure, you've introduced some of these videos and people know I could look at that later. Hopefully that they'll remember that, oh, this is something that I can check later on my own time when I have the mental bandwidth to tackle this topic.
And I think even encouraging them to come back and ask you. So if they see the video and they could come back and say, hey, we watched a video, can you help me find it too? So yeah, just introducing it so that they know it's there, even if they're not ready to process the information at that time. I think that's a great idea. And then they can come back to it. The other question I have about this is, like, which would you show first? Would you show it in English first and then show it in the refugee language, or vice versa? And I think the answer is different in different scenarios. So I'm curious if any groups talked about that, like how they would progress or use, choose between the English and the native language.
In our group, we talked about, or one in our group would use the English version only because that's what all their classes and programming is taught in. So, and I know from my perspective at the Literacy Council I'm involved with, that would be the case too, because we have so many different languages that we would probably use the English version most.
And I think in that situation, if there's a video available in their native language or in a language they spoke at home, they could then go home and watch it. So they do it together in class, everybody in English, but then have the opportunity to watch it later in their own language. Or you could do the opposite too, where they watch it at home first in their native language, get familiar with the content, and then do it together in English as a class.
I really like that as an option.
Someone in
And I
our
think-
group, I forget who, maybe Jamie, gave that idea too, to watch it in their native language first. I like that.
Yeah, well, and I like watching it at home because then your family could also see it, which I think would, I mean, that's just reaching even more people.
And I think if you do invite them to watch it at home, you need to be aware that there may be, there may be people in your class who don't have, who it's not available in their language. So
Yep.
that could be a challenge. And then of course, if they have access to watch the videos at home, but you could have the option to come and watch it wherever you meet as well ahead of lessons.
Yeah, and then a lot of times with our family literacy program, we also have like the parents do in the native language, and then kind of explain to their children, and the children would kind of explain in English to the parents. So vice versa too.
Mhm.
And a lot of these topics are, not all of them, like I don't know that the financial literacy topic that video we watch would be appropriate for younger children, but some of them really are, I think, really good for parent-child engagement and conversation too. And so what you were suggesting, Pong, would be a really great way to encourage that interaction.
Yeah, because with working with refugee in the past, we do find that a lot of times parents do use their children as interpreter too. So yeah.
Well, and
Yeah.
in terms of the healthcare video, that was the one thing I wished had been included, because in Wisconsin, it's illegal to use a minor to interpret in a healthcare setting. And I wish they had talked, just mentioned that in a very gentle way.
Well, that could be a video topic for us, and your rights to interpretation. Different.
In the
working
options that you
working with
were
interpreters. Yeah.
Yeah, good.
And I think like also from just, I know from family experience, making sure that folks know that they can, if they don't feel comfortable with a provider, they can get a different provider. And that's the same with an interpreter. If they have an interpreter that makes them feel very uncomfortable, again, just from like family experience, they need to know that they have the right to request that they not have that interpreter and have someone else. Cause I think that I've seen that be like a reason for not wanting to go to the doctor. So just like those rights and responsibilities that patients have in the US.
Claire, you may have covered this topic about not showing up for appointments and being responsible.
When we met with community health workers, that was like their number one request, was showing up to appointments and what will happen if you don't.
And not that you can get at every topic, but we had a student years ago walk in with an $800 ambulance bill. He was at work, he fainted, he came out, he was fine. They sent him, they called it, he was functioning fine. They called an ambulance. Because he was fine, he didn't accept the ambulance. And the $800 was to pay for the ambulance. And I'm stating, but he didn't use the ambulance. They actually said, had he used it, he would not have been charged the $800, which is wild.
Yeah, wow.
Thankfully, it was a very kind lady who waived the charges, but that was something I would have never thought of at all.
Yeah. You guys are coming up with really great topics for us. So I'm going to have Barwako put to the group, or you guys, Barwako, if you didn't see it, she put to everybody our topic request form. So hopefully it is
Oh,
very
good.
easy for you guys to send topics to us. Barwako, could you also put the link to the regular, just like the library? Because I think we've got our YouTube channel and it's great to be able to see the videos, but sometimes if you're trying to search, it's not like as easy to search. And we've got a spreadsheet where you can just search the topics, get the language and grab the link. And if any of you would like to be added to our listserv, Barwako always sends out an email when we've got new topics. It's about once a month or so to let you know what topics are. And then she'll also do like kind of a throwback to, hey, it's tax season, here are our old taxes, or, you know, it's fall, here's our old flu shot videos to kind of remind people what we've had in the past. And I wanted to do a quick plug for PBS. The PBS Kids, if you're looking for really nice parenting, like easy lessons, I use their resources for parents all the time. I do a virtual Rohingya women's group, and some of their resources are really great, different ideas for parents. I know our topic on Tuesday, we talked about, and this was from a PBS Kids article, like ways to do math with your kids in the kitchen. Like, can you guess how many people can we feed with this bowl of rice? If we've got 6 eggs and we've got 3 people, how many eggs does each person get? And there are things that, you know, the ladies are such good cooks and they're in the kitchen and they were excited about this as ways they could, you know, they often feel like they can't help with homework. And this is ways that they could still be facilitating literacy at home in a really accessible way. You could tell that they were excited.
For the shout out, Claire, and for others that are in, I don't want to hijack the webinar, but PBS Wisconsin we have a project called Welcome Neighbor where we gift a backpack to every arriving refugee child or family that has some PBS Kids items in it to support early literacy, so books and school supplies and things like that. And we're looking at developing more of a train the trainer program component to give access and kind of an organized approach to all of the wonderful PBS Kids materials that can be used. So if that's of interest to folks and you want to be in touch, I would love to hear from any of you and just pick your brains more. So I'll put my email in the chat, and thanks for the PBS shout out.
Thank you. That's wonderful.
And I will put these links in the follow-up email too, which will also have a survey for you to complete. So make sure to click on that link as well. But I will put these in. All these the email, Jen's email address, and then this other information.
I think our last question that we haven't really talked much about is, for some of these topics, where would you send people for more information? If they want more resources, or if they're asking questions that you're not sure what the answers are, where would you look for more support?
Well, again, on the healthcare video, actually in the last 2 questions, the thought was to bring in someone, especially if you have a homogenous group, who speaks their language or who is from their country, who happens to work at the healthcare system, in part to give them, you know, comfort and understanding and knowing that someone like me is working there. The other idea was, let's go visit the hospital or the clinic, and, you know, and where do you park and where do you go in and what do you say and what does it look like and smell like and all of those things, just to give people a little level of comfort for the time when it might not be as comfortable.
Yeah, I think the more you can get out in the community, explore if it's possible, is a really wonderful way to take it from virtual to the real world.
Yeah, we talked in our group with the financial video for opening a bank account. I keep calling the opening a bank account. We also talked about having many times programs have a relationship already with a bank or a credit union. So having the person that they're working with come in as well as a follow-up activity, and to be able to answer any questions that people have.
We're working on getting more financial literacy videos out. We're establishing a partnership with one of the credit unions in Milwaukee, and they're really excited to help write the content. 'Cause that just makes it faster. Barwaco has learned a lot about a lot of different things in her job. And so when we've got, if you suggest a topic and have some content or resources for us, it just makes it easier and faster for us to create that script.
One of the things I love about these videos is the length. So, that they're only, what was it, that they're all under 7 minutes, or that's kind of the target, and recognizing that sometimes depending on the language, it might take a little longer. As you mentioned, sometimes there's not a direct translation for a word. And so you have to, the translation might take a little longer because you have to explain the word or the concept. But it's nice because by having them very targeted on a topic and a short length makes it more accessible, especially if you're a tutor or an instructor that's just pulling it in, and that it makes it very user friendly because of the time. It doesn't take a lot of time.
Yeah, we can actually, see how long people watch the videos, and certainly not everyone is watching the whole entire thing, but for YouTube standards, people do watch a fair amount of the video before they call it quits.
Same thing, kind of building on what you had said, Anna. We had talked about watching the stress video, is that it had great information, but it was also a good jumping off point wherever your students wanted to go. You kind of had a good base, and you could pull in different material and go different ways on how to handle stress. Like you talked about meditation, yoga, all those different things. It was just creates a great opportunity to open up for different lessons too.
Well, if anybody has questions for us, we want to get on our listserv, suggest video topics, there is our contact information. We are always happy to talk more with folks who are out in the community and using our resources. It really helps. We want these to be helpful, as helpful as possible. So please, be in touch. We'd love to hear from you.